Get out there, everybody. It's KB5 MIQ Big Boy on a cold day here in Texas. Some of our good Texas weather. It was 70 degrees running the air yesterday and raining, and it's 26 today and snowed this morning. So, excuse the way I look. I've been out feeding cows and things like that. Thought we'd just have a little first part of the year chat and touch base on a couple things. One thing, and y'all heard me talk about a lot, is things people say to new ham radio operators that possibly have caused them to leave the hobby. So I'm going to read a letter that somebody posted on one of the pages I'm in. I'm not going to put any names or anything down, but this kind of sums up a lot of things here. Come on, ham radio cat. Come on. Hey, Aaron, old buddy, number one fan, old ham radio cat. Got back up here. Hello, everyone. I just want to thank you for this channel, this group. Back in '82, I got my license. I was ecstatic to receive my first radio, TS 520, from my uncle. The radio world was awesome. As a youngster, I had many that came back to me, and conversations would last throughout the summer nights. Less than 3 years of my license, my uncle passed away, and out of the blue, everyone I was socializing turned against me and started telling me I needed to get a life and I was not welcomed. Perhaps being a youth was the cause. No matter which frequency I turned, I received the same attitude. After that horrifying, unwelcome experience, I never looked back on amateur radios. The next day, the next door neighbor, my best friend, had a CB radio, and we talked. Before long, we had the whole neighborhood transmitting. Over 50 kids, not including parents, even a few grandparents. We loved the grandparents for the jokes and stories they would tell. All of this took place in a town called Jacksonville, Texas. I'll say all of this: for operating on CB frequencies for over 30 years with respect, I stumbled across this group. And I've never seen a different level of respect, of stature, and character that encouraged me to get my license again. I looked up my call sign. It's no longer in the database. Wife and I are studying the test together, and soon we'll have our first CQ. That's great that the guy's coming back to the hobby. Uh, but it makes me wonder when old hams treat new hams the way they do sometimes, how many we lost and just said, heck with this and not ever coming back to it. So that's why I talk about snarky answers and NASA engineer answers. The snarky answers don't do nothing but just make people mad. The NASA engineer answers, it may be great. I'm very impressed that a person may have that much technical expertise to break it down to that detail. But when you do that, you don't know what the guy you're telling to, how his level of expertise is. And you may be shying people away from that. I know I saw that at the depot I worked when I was working in electrical, trying to teach people to do certain things. It had a lot of wires and you had to use print. Some people just could not, they just were scared of it. So, how we treat hams, especially new hams, is going what's going to affect the life of this hobby. Another thing I saw, a lot of these subjects I just get off social media. Here's another guy narrowing down his choices of radios to a 7300 ICOM and a Yaesu FT91. And that is just like asking somebody whether to buy a Ford or a Chevy. You know, make your decision. Your final decision on the radio is up to you and your budget. I'm going to tell you what I like, but I'm not going to tell you to buy what I buy. Um, it all depends on what you want to do and how much you've got to spend and where you want to go with this hobby because there's a lot of avenues you can go for this hobby. These real time spectrum scope radios are real popular right now. I don't own one. This 897D has got an early spectrum scope in it, and I've turned it on and for the novelty of it and looked at it, but I'm not, you know, I've been told they use spectrum scopes to find signals. I've always just did that by spinning the VFO. But hey, that's the technology I probably need to learn. And if you young guys are into that, go for it. But when you ask on social media to give you the choice between and give them two radios, you're not going to get an answer that's out of every 5 answers you get, you might get one with some useful information. You're going to get the guys that want to buy the 7300 because this is what I use. You're going to have to ultimately make that decision yourself. Now, let's talk about something going into the new year. I do not believe in politics and ham radio, so I'm not going there. But with the world situation we seem to be having with emergencies, natural disasters, so on and so forth, amateur radio was not set up for us to have a hobby of talking on the radio. I've said this before. Amateur radio is to have a pool of trained operators with their own equipment to provide backup communications in a national emergency, whether it be a natural disaster or whatever, weather emergency. I've done emergency communications during a weather emergency years ago. And it's good to have stuff ready. I see a lot of guys talking about getting go boxes ready and shack in a box ready and things like that. That's great. But it would not hurt to go ahead and get you a plan ready and in case you're asked to support uh, an event. And it can be anything from having your talkies charged up if you're close enough to repeaters that are still operational, uh, just to relay information, to having to actually move a station up there. At the time I got asked to go up there, uh, there was a Architect Council of Governments had an emergency communications vehicle set up. But there was something wrong. One reason when they set it up, they parked it right under a three-phase transformer pole. And that had electricity to it. One of the few places in the area that had electricity. And something was bad wrong up there because it was just eating the radio up. And I just offered to move to my shack at the house, and local phone calls was working. They couldn't dial out long distance, so they would just call me on the phone and I'd relay information. But have a plan to do that. And it could be as simple as making sure your talkies are charged and that you have local repeaters of the area you're going to be working in already programmed into the talkie. Your ham club should probably have a plan for emergency communications now. I'm not a member of a ham club. We don't have one close enough in my area. But if a local fire department needed me, I can pull a radio in 5 minutes. I can be headed up there. I've got a radio antenna on my truck. Real easy to do. I don't have a shack in the box. I don't keep a go box ready, but I do have a small enough station I can tear it down real quick and use it and move with it. More than likely, your emergency communications would be largely VHF, UHF. However, in the right kind of disaster, you might actually have to have some HF capability. It would all depend on what's required at the time. But it's you don't have to go full up planning and just have stuff sitting there ready to go. But get an idea of what you could do to assist in some kind of emergency. That's what we're here for. There's we're not here for this to have a hobby of just talking on the radio. We're here to assist in an emergency situation. I've seen ham radio operators assist with parades and stuff. If local government requests help like that, it gets you seen in the area. It's good to show what we have capabilities of doing. Well, I can't think of much else for today. I'm going to plug a few pictures in here, still promoting the upcoming Ham Fest at Cowtown and Irving. I've also got Farmersville out there around the Dallas area. They hold a tailgate sale once a month, flea market type sale. I've got information on that screenshotted. I'll have that on the end of it. Remember Main Trading Company, they're posting used stuff all the time on there, and he says he's got a ton of used stuff posted. So I check it pretty regular because I'm looking for a 4-pin Icon mic to use this 701. So remember your Facebook pages, Ham Radio, Amateur Radio Elmers, Texas Amateur Ham Radio Flea Market Trading Post. Tons of good information there. Appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. I've hit 523 subscribers. We're still doing our 10-meter round table Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Friday nights, 7:30 Central Standard Time on 28 450 or 470s, usually where we move to if the band's open. And we wish the band would start opening because we really enjoy having people checking in with us. Appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. It's KB5MIQ Big Boy 73.